Good morning. Welcome to Stuttgart, Germany. Some of you have been here before, and for some of you, it's going to be the first time probably here coming to Stuttgart. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Lechi Haveli. Haveli is my last German name. I was born in Malaysia, but have been living in Germany for the last 22 years. So I'm the right person to talk about living in Germany because I know how to be not a German and be a German. I am a host nation translation specialist. Besides on a daily basis providing translation services to the community, I also do this briefing, so-called host nation briefing. So let me explain a little bit about Germany before I talk about where we are right now in Stuttgart. Germany is part of the European Union. It has 28 countries in the European Union. Germany belongs to one of them, of course. There's 16 states in Germany, and we are in Baden-Württemberg. That is the south part of Germany. So each state has its own political organization or party, and they have own regulation. Here in Stuttgart, which is in Baden-Württemberg, that is the capital of the Baden-Württemberg. So I'm going to talk about a lot of topics today. One of the topics I'm going to talk is basically things that will affect you living here in Germany. And I'm sure a lot of people will be out there driving and also will be moving off base besides staying on base. So the challenge people will have living off base is to talk about how I do recycling, how do I get a parking ticket, how I go for grocery. These are a few topics that one will have as a big challenge, but not speaking the language. So I would like to first start with talking about parking here in Germany, because in Stuttgart we have a very different way, because it's a very small city. South Germany has more population than North or East Germany, so everything is quite congested here. So you literally have to take a parking ticket wherever you go. So you can park in your garage or in front of your house for free, but if you're anywhere else, you have to get a ticket. So the best thing to do is that whenever you go, when you are in the city or anywhere, look out for a sign and look out for a machine where you can get a parking ticket. So when you look at the sign, you basically have to read the sign. But of course, you cannot do this because you don't speak German. But look up very specific signs. So it always shows you the parking hours. The time goes on between hours, so 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So work days are basically from Monday to Fridays out of the city, but in the city it will be Monday to Saturday. Sometimes you have signs actually pointing out where you can get the parking machine. So if you cannot find any sign pointing the arrow pointing where the parking machine is, look out at the side of the street and you always will find a machine. So you're going to throw a few coins, look out on the display how much it costs for an hour, half an hour, or for 2 hours or longer. Put a few coins inside. Make sure you always have coins with you. You always need coins in Germany. Sometimes you can use the credit card, it says there, but most of the time it does not work, so you take a coins with you. So throw a few coins and get your ticket and make sure you display them obvious enough. When the controller is passing by, he can see that you are still within the time, and make sure you are back on time. The clock time is basically a card that you use with different hours, and when you actually arrived and leave your car, you will make sure that you put the time that you leave the car. So if the parking allowance is just for an hour, you have to be back in your car after an hour. And you can, if on the big picture, you can always park in a garage where you have big malls which has its own parking garage. You can always park there too. So in Germany, it's kind of fun to be on the highway because sometimes there's no speed limit on the highway, but there are very often that in the city there are speed limits and there are cameras everywhere. So these cameras are sometimes very visual or transparent, and there are some cameras which basically are so-called pop-up cameras. So let me very basically talk to you about these four different type of cameras that we have. So we have one very old stagnant camera, which is basically displayed on the side of the street. It has two lenses, and one is for the driver and the other one is for the license plate. So if the camera flash, you cannot literally say I'm not the driver, because you have the picture and you also have your driving license. Second type of camera is basically a very long cylinder kind of camera, which is very often located at the center of the street, which will actually flash both flowing traffic. So you can be actually on the left side or right side of the traffic, it still can flash you if you do not keep up to the speed limit. And then we have the third one called a pop-up camera. As the word says, it pops up every now and then. Very often you can find this on a so-called a frog road, where you have a frog road or pencil coming to patch, for instance, or outskirts, or very often as well in a smaller town where they want to control the traffic because of the request from the people in the city. And these cameras are there not every now and then, only when it pops up. But the good news is that if it pops up at one place, it always will pop up at the same place. So you can actually mark that you have seen cameras in different places, and you will slow down automatically each time you pass the street. But if you have a camera, if you have a ticket, you have to basically wait until the ticket actually arrives to your SIM address. When you get it, you want to make sure that you pay the ticket. All the data will be on the letter. So you have the bank information, you have your case number, you have the amount that you have to pay. You just have to go and transfer the money, and you're good to go. So what do you do when you have a ticket which has all the information but do not have the amount that you have to pay? What you have to do is that you have to fill out a form, so-called a questionnaire form, which is always attached with the ticket itself. The form is basically to declare or to verify that you were the driver, because sometimes the person who owns the car is not the driver. So the point has to be given to the driver. So you have to put your data like your name, your address, and your signature, and basically agree that you were the driver. You're going to send it. There's always an email attached to these letters. You're going to send it to the respective person, and then you have to wait. So the whole process will take from 3 weeks to 3 months. So do not worry. So you all have to do is wait until you get the ticket. There are few American and international community that you can refer to, like the Facebook. You have the Stuttgart Friends, the Internations, Stuttgart.who is another website that you can go get all this information about where you can shop, where you can buy. Even people are advising about parking and ticketing and everything. My biggest advice to you is, however, there is so much information out there in the social media. You want to speak to the right person. You want to get information firsthand for yourself, because everybody make their own experience. Do not forget that. Okay, so a few culture and practical tips that I want to share. So realtors has no fee for the tenant. However, if you are planning to not using our housing or using any of the website, you just want to go privately to your own way to get a place to live, you want to always throw the question, is the realtor fee involved or included in this service? Sometimes it is included, sometimes it's not. But very often in Germany, when you are into a business, people assume that you are aware of this business, and every service costs money here. So it does not sometimes comes in a package, could be separate. You want to always ask that question. Now that's number one. Number two, vet form. Vet form can be used everywhere. So again, throw the questions that if one takes a vet form or not. But you can use it for any furniture shop, for restaurant, for hotel reservation, literally everywhere you can use a vet form. But please do ask. Now let me talk about tipping. So this is how we do it. So if you are having a lunch for $12.50, okay, you're having a Coke and a French fries or schnitzel, and you pay, it's going to cost you $12.50. What you want to do is that you want to round that figure to the amount to the round figure, which will be 13. So you have a 50 cent of a tip. Probably that's too little. So you want to add up a euro or two to make it another round figure, which is 14 or 15. That will be just fine. And you want to actually add up to the bill that you are actually paid. Like if you have $12.50, you're giving it 20, you want to say 15, I'll give you back 5. So they know the rest is a tip. This is not a 10%, a 20%, 30%. It's just whatever extra appreciation that you want to keep. You don't want to leave it on the table and walk away. You want to always add it up. Shopping. So shopping carts actually need to use a coin too. All the shopping carts here are locked with a chain, and you need to actually use a coin of 50 cent or €1 or 20 cent or a quarter to use it into so-called this slot where you place it, the coin in, the chain will be released, and you can shop. And you finish the shopping, you bring the cart back and you lock it, the chain will release. You remove your coin and you use it for the next shopping. Restrooms. Restrooms are generally, if you're in a restaurant, it is part of the service. Restrooms actually do not require you to pay unless you are using public toilets, public restroom. Or the main restroom requires to be is on the autobahn. So if you're on the autobahn highway, you always have to pay. It costs you 50 cent or 70 cent. If you put €1, you get a change as a voucher. So you do not get a coin back, you get a voucher which has a value of 50 cent, and this voucher cannot be used for the next trip to the restroom, but to get a coffee or a sandwich at any of this restaurant on the highway. You can accumulate them and then can use it at any other restaurant on the highways throughout the country. So it's a good thing too. Now, house cleaning. House cleaning, basically the Swabians are very much into cleaning. They always like to use the weekend to cleaning, and they are particular about the materials they use to clean. So you want to make sure you speak to your landlord what other appropriate detergent one need to use to clean the floor, to clean the windows, carpet, and everything. So speak to your landlord about this. K-water. K-water is a term basically created by the Swabians. People in Berlin wouldn't know what we're talking about. So K-water basically created by the Swabians in order to practice a weekly cleaning habit. In those days, in the 16th century, it was actually used by the government to make sure that people are keeping not only the place that they live, but around the surroundings to keep it clean for hygiene purpose. Today it has been a cultural habit that one has to always clean all the shared places that one share with the neighbors. So I'm talking about the walkway, if you're sharing apartments, there are other neighbors, you want to clean the staircase, you want to clean the laundry rooms, it actually takes turns. So please, when you make a leasing contract, check for this word K-water or speak to your landlord. Ask them, am I obligated to do the weekly cleaning? Let's talk about garbage management. Garbage management in Germany is a culture by itself. It is basically a process that you have to know when you separate the garbage, in a sense. Two things you have to remember when you do garbage management. Number one, you have to talk to your landlord, and the landlord will actually prepare the garbage bins, the size of the bins, because each county that you live will have different garbage management. The number two tips, which is most important, is that to pick up such a handbook from housing. One is off base, one is on base. So if you're living on base, you have a book on post, basically tells you technically what you have to separate and how you have to separate them. It's a very thin book because it's few regulations required. But if you are living off base, you have a book which basically have process of separating, or the regulation of separating with different counties. You have Böblingen, you have Esslingen, you have Ludwigsburg, and you have Stuttgart. So pick the one that relates to you. So let me talk about the garbage bin itself. So there are 4 main garbage bins that need to be sorted out and need to be located in your houses. Basically will be charged for each pickup. So the main charges will be for the organic and the regular, which is the residual bin. For the recycle bin, which is the glasses and the paper and the plastic, are no charges but need to be recycled. My main advice to you is that to get yourself educated about the separation and then to talk to your landlord. Folks, if you are here for a year or two or even more, take the opportunity to learn the language. There's a lot of facilities and opportunities for you to learn the language. So ACS has German immersion classes which you can enroll. CYS has so-called a Sky program which you can check it out as well. They have programs for children and also for adults. And also we have classes or schools in the communities called VHS Volkshochschule, which provide different kind of training courses, classes, and languages one of it. So if you are in any of the cities here in Stuttgart, Holzgerlingen, or in Schönbuch, go on the website, go for vhs.schönbuch, Stuttgart or Gerlingen, and then you can go and get into the website and enroll yourself for such classes. These classes are very, very interesting and very useful. They will cost you a little bit of money, but it is worth it. So let me just touch very quick on the language. Okay, a lot of people, some of you might even speak Spanish, you know what I'm talking about when a language is spoken with a respect way and not a formal way. So formal and informal way. So most of the time when you meet a stranger for the first time in Germany, in German language, you always have to be formal. So you always have to use the word Sie, S-I-E. That's basically being showing not only you have the distance, but you also want to show the respect. So the alphabet basically are the same from A to Z, but there are few alphabet basically are pronounced differently. So please go to this link and look up for all these alphabets, and we also have a few phrases where you can actually use to order things or ask for any questions. So we have a list of all those things. But I want to mention a couple of alphabets which actually sounds different in the German language. So the word V doesn't sound as V, it sounds as foul. So if you remember, as you know, patches in Feingen, so you don't say Weingen, you say Feingen. If you're on a train and if you're lost, and if you're asking somebody, I want to go to Feingen, instead of saying Feingen, you say, I want to go to Weingen, it will actually take you somewhere else. So the V is actually a vowel. So, and we do not actually have a J. We have the alphabet J, but it's pronounced as yacht. So there's a few things is different. So there are a few restrictions like when you are on a bicycle. There are a lot of bicycle trails here in Germany. It's very much encouraged. Stuttgart, or basically Baden-Württemberg, is ruled by a Green Party. We have a lot of policy which basically very pro-environment. So it's encouraged to be very aware of these regulations. Correct. So if you're on a bicycle, each city, most of the cities has an extra or has a specific bicycle trail. In fact, these trails are colored like red, which actually specify that this is for bicycle. So you have to actually be aware if you're walking on that trail. Don't be shocked if a fast bicycle is going to knock you down. So you want to get on the street. If you don't have this extra bicycle trail, you want to be on the street. Do not cycle on the side street, because side street is only for pedestrian unless you are accompanying your small child on a bicycle. That's the only time you can be on the side street. So that is one main thing which happens as well. You want to also be punctual here. Germans are known for their punctuality. If you're running late, please call and say that you'll be running late. You still want to take an appointment. Remember, you need to make an appointment literally for everything. Without appointment, they will send you back. German TV has a few few restrictions. So if you are with small children, you want to make sure that you can control this, because you can switch the TV on and watch whatever you want to. So I'm talking mainly about internet contract and mobile phone contracts. But internet contract will be one thing that you definitely going to make, because you need internet. So the process of making a contract takes a very long time. So you'll be surprised when you make a contract. It is very easy. Everybody will be assisting you. Everybody will be speaking English to you to help you out. But as soon as you have a problem, that you'll be surprised all of a sudden they cannot speak English. So you really have to make a few steps by yourself by call the providers, basically the customer service line. But the challenge you have is the language. You will be able to speak the language. So what you do, it probably will hang up on you as soon as you're going to ask to speak English. I would suggest you to send them an email. You can always send an email in English language, and you can always use our service to refer to call and check the status on the email. So that is much more better than just calling for the first time. Now, let me just speak specifically on canceling a contract. I know you're here, you just came, you don't want to cancel a contract, but to remember this fact that I have mentioned today about the cancellation process. So each contract works differently. You have to keep your contract keep it in 5-year contract, so that when you want to cancel a contract down the road, 2 years, 3 years, you have your data. You always have to look for your customer number. You have to know when your contract was made and when the contract is expiring. So some providers will actually give you 2 months before the expiry date to notify them. Some contract will require you for 1 month. So we always advise people to stick to the 90 days. Always remember 90 days. So 90 days is a good thing to always keep in mind to cancel anything in Germany. The 90 days does not mean that in 90 days of notification you can cancel a contract. 90 days is basically a cancellation regulation, or basically it's called a premature cancellation, that every provider provides to a contract holder if they have a valid reason. So one of the valid reasons would be leaving the country. So when you have orders, when you leave the country, you can always write to the provider and say, I would like to have a premature cancellation because I'm leaving the country, and you have to attach a copy of your orders. So this will give them a chance to process it. But this is just the first part of the cancellation process. The main part, which basically brings it to the full circle, is when you get a confirmation your contract is cancelled. Folks, do not leave Germany without this paper. This is very, very important. So this service I provide, I will basically assist you to go through this process when you are PCSing. Please come and see us and use the service to help you out with this process. Now let's talk about public transportation. You are here in Germany, of course you want to travel, of course you want to experience life here, and you should be daring enough to move freely and use the public transportation. The good thing in Germany is that the public transportation is available almost 24 hours. We have the DBs called Garbageman, and the link and the app from DBs in English. Look through, you have all the information about the DB. So we have so-called long distance trains, which is the ICE, International Continental Express, and we have the local trains, which is the short distance trains, so-called regional trains, and we have an S-Bahn and a U-Bahn. So you'll be living in a town where you have the S-Bahn. S-Bahns will start with S1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and continuous, or U-Bahns which start with the U1, 2, 3, 4, 5. U-Bahns will be underground trains like the tube that you have, and the S-Bahn will be like straight trains. So sometimes you can have the opportunity of using both of this train system, depends where you end up living. So wherever it is, you can start your journey either from a train or from a bus. If you start the journey from a bus, from wherever you're living, you can actually buy the ticket from the bus driver. So you can either use your app or buy a paper ticket. If you are using your app, you can purchase the whole journey from A to B. You just have to show your app to the driver and then move on. But if you're going to buy a paper ticket, you literally have to buy the ticket from the driver just to the next stop, and then get another ticket either if you want to go with the bus or with the train. This is the main way of doing it. But I would strongly suggest you start using the app, because it's not only will be convenient, that you don't have cash with you, but it will also give you so many information about what are the connections, what are the schedule, if there's interruption, is there any festival going on, what are the night trains, what are the night buses. So if you are caught without a ticket, you get a penalty on the spot of €80. If you do not have the €80, you leave your data, you leave the train, and then you have to get a ticket and get on the train. So that's basically mainly on the train.
Okay, so this is the machine where you get a ticket. So you can take a ticket for a DB, which is the Deutsche Bahn, and VVS, which is the local transportation. So you have local transportation and you have regional or the country transportation. So let me show you how you get a ticket from Garbageman to Stuttgart. Very simple ticket. The good news is that everything is in English. So all you need to do is you have to press the UK flag, and you have to pick the VVS, which means you want to select the local transportation network, which is destination within VVS Transport Association, as you can see. When you tip on that one, and you have a list of places that you can travel from here, which covers the zone of this route. If it's not listed, you can always put the name down. So let's just assume that you want to go to the downtown Stuttgart. So you're going to pick Stadtmitte, which is the downtown Stuttgart. So you have a single ticket, you have a 4-journey ticket, which you need to verify at the end of, before you use the ticket, before you get into the train. And then you have a single all-day ticket, which covers the whole day, expires at the end of the day. And then you have single ticket child and 4-journey ticket for a child, a dog, a pet. You have to pay as well. If you want to take a bike, you want to press on this and get the information what is displayed for the bike. And a collective all-day ticket is a group ticket which covers a maximum of 5 in a ticket. One of the most popular places that people in Garbageman like to do is to hang around this lake. This is basically the recreational part of the Garbageman. Garbageman is separated by the old part of the city and the new part of the city, and people actually do not have a place where they can get away from that. And this is a great place to spend your time. There's a walking trail around this lake. There is a playground. There are cafes around here. So if you have nowhere to go and you're stranded in a hotel, take a walk to the lake.
Folks, I hope all this information that I've given you today will be useful to you, will be fully assisting you, helping you help your stay in Germany. I hope you go out there and experience life in Germany and be adventurous and try all this out. Please do not hesitate to come and see us and use our service. We provide unofficial translation only, not official. But if you are here, we will at least tell you where you can get help. Please make use of this time, make use of this experience, have a great time in Germany. Welcome to Germany.